and overall impression of martial orderliness was less reassuring. I judged them unlikely to run when the time came, which was unfortunate for all concerned. I rose when the leading horsemen were a dozen paces off, reaching for the gnarled, rag-wrapped tree branch that served as my crutch and levering myself upright. I was careful to blink a good deal and furrow my brow in the manner of a soul just roused from slumber. As I hobbled towards the verge, keeping the blackened bulb of my bandaged foot clear of the ground, my features slipped easily into the gape-mouthed, empty-eyed visage of a crippled dullard. Reaching the road, I allowed the foot to brush the churned mud at the edge. Letting out an agonized groan of appropriate volume, I stumbled forwards, collapsing onto all fours in the middle of the rutted fairway. It should not be imagined that I fully expected the soldiers' horses to rear, for many a war horse is trained to trample a prone man. Fortunately, these beasts had not been bred for knightly service, and they both came to a gratifyingly untidy halt, much to the profane annoyance of their riders. "Get out of the fucking road, churl!" the soldier on the right snarled, dragging on his reins as his mount wheeled in alarm. Beyond him, the cart, and more importantly the bobbing lance of the crown messenger, also stopped. The crossbowmen sank lower on the mound of cargo affixed to the cart bed, both reaching for the bolts in their quivers. Crossbowmen are always wary of leaving their weapons primed for long intervals, for it wears down the stave and the string. However, failing to do so this day would soon prove a fatal miscalculation. I didn't allow my sight to linger on the cart, however, instead gaping up at the mounted soldier with wide, fearful eyes that betrayed little comprehension. It was an expression I had practiced extensively, for it is not easy to mask one's intellect. "Shift your arse," his companion instructed, his voice marginally less angry and speaking as if addressing a dull-witted dog. When I continued to stare up at him from the ground, he cursed and reached for the whip on his saddle. "Please," I whimpered, crutch raised protectively over my head. "Your pardon, good sirs." I had noticed on many occasions that such cringing will invariably stoke rather than quell the violent urges of the brutishly inclined, and so it proved now. The soldier's face darkened as he unhooked the whip, letting it unfurl so its barbed tip dangled onto the road a few inches from my cowering form. Looking up, I saw his hand tighten on the diamond-etched pattern of the handle. The leather was well worn, marking this as a man who greatly enjoyed opportunities to use this weapon. However, as he raised the lash, he paused, features bunching in disgust. "Martyr's guts, but you're a stinker." "Sorry, sir," I quailed. "Can't help it. Me foot, see? It's gone all rotten since me master's cart landed on it. I'm on the trail of shrines, going to beseech Martyr Stefanos to put me right. You wouldn't hurt a faithful fellow, would you?" In fact, my foot was a fine and healthy appendage to an equally healthy leg. The stench that so assailed the soldier's nose came from a pungent mix of wild garlic, bird shit, and mulched-up leaves. For a guise to be convincing, one must never neglect the power of scent. It was important that these two see no threat in me. A lamed youth, happened upon while traversing a notoriously treacherous road, could well be faking. But one with a face lacking all wit and a foot exuding an odor carefully crafted to match the festering wounds this pair had surely encountered before was another matter. Closer scrutiny would surely have undone me. Had this pair been more scrupulous in their appraisal, they would have seen the mostly unmarked skin beneath the grime, and the rangy but sturdy frame of a well-fed lad beneath the rags. Keener eyes and a fraction more time would also have discerned the small bulge of the knife beneath my threadbare jerkin. But these unfortunates lacked the required keenness of vision, and they were out of time. It had only been moments since I had stumbled into their path, but the distraction had been enough to bring their entire party to a halt. Over the course of an eventful and perilous life, I have found that it is in these small, confused interludes that death is most likely to arrive. For the soldier on the right, it arrived in the form of a crow-fletched arrow with a barbed steel head. The shaft came streaking from the trees to enter his neck just